Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Regan's Rugby Strength and Conditioning. Got a cool guest for you guys. His name's Brendon. He's a rugby coach. He's currently in Germany and he works with a few cool teams, and he's given us some of his time today. So cheers for giving us time on your Friday lunch, Brendon. How are you doing today?
Oh, mate, really good. Thanks for inviting me on. Yeah, as you said, I'm based down in Germany, working for a few various different teams at the moment and trying to just keep that rugby going in between the, COVID restrictions, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, happy to chat rugby as always, really.
That's cool. And then I only just found out just before we press record that you're in the army. Is it the British Army stationed there, right?
So I'm in RAF in the military.
RAF,
So yeah, based here. With work, and so most of my spare time in the evenings or during lunch is trying to build up a few more projects in rugby and get more people playing.
How much time a day does that take up? Because I've got a guy who is an officer who brags that he has like 3 or 4 hours of work a day. So how much do you have to do day to day?
To be honest, it's a lot of hours, 40 to 50 hours a week at least. Yeah, it's pretty busy at the moment. That's why I look so I look awful at the moment, because I'm just a bit drained out from everything. Last year was wild, mate. Honestly, it was interesting. So, yeah.
What was the biggest struggle? Was it work changing or with your rugby clubs?
And there was a lot of additional responsibility with the rugby clubs, but just work with COVID problems and all that good stuff. So it's certainly kept me on my toes. But rugby in the evenings and at lunchtimes and stuff is that sort of like positive thing that you hold on to and keeps you moving forward. And the amount of amazing people that you engage with, like this podcast now, chatting to you and us talking to each other offline was, it's you all not big each other up, but you all keep moving each other forward, and makes it all worth it, really.
Yeah, just planting these little seeds. And like, obviously I found out that you work for the club and you live in Germany. Obviously I'm with a club in Hungary, and obviously you've got the vegan team, which is like a lot to chat about. So it's just, you never know where the seeds are going to go. And then you said you work with a recruitment team and you might help me with this. And then the guy I did the recording with yesterday was like, if you've got goals and you want to just share it with the world, you never know who's going to help pass your idea across, or you never know who's going to know someone that might help. And yeah, these are all good chats, and you never know where they're going to go. So why don't you give us a bit more background to like maybe your rugby? You said you play a little bit, or maybe how much coaching you do. To just give us more of a background on you. And there's a few military guys actually, so they might like to hear a bit about that as well. So just get it all on the table.
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Salisbury, played rugby all the way through minis and youth and through to the seniors. In that time, I represented Dorset and Wiltshire County, and also before joining the RAF, played quite a bit with Salisbury and various other sevens teams and stuff. So joining the forces then was, I was pulled away from Salisbury and started playing at the odd local club, but in between, work and stuff, most of my time was in forces rugby. So I did it, played RAF, managed to play for combined services, or it's now called UK Armed Forces, getting to play Cambridge and Oxbridge at Twickenham a few years back. And that was really, great opportunity. And, with forces rugby, so if there are any forces people watching, they'll happily tell you how, each union make it as professional as possible. You get time out of work, you go and do the various different, you normally go for like a week training camp, and, they get all of everyone who's serving, whether it's a coach or SNC, or whether it's nutritional advice or whatever it is, they'll put it all on. So forces rugby absolutely kept me moving in the right direction for the first sort of 8-9 years of my career. And my God, I would literally encourage anyone who's close to joining the forces and you like rugby, just contact your local sort of rugby club on base or whatever, and get involved, because it's bloody brilliant. It really is.
There's a guy who I played against when I was like 17, just obviously as you do on social media, stayed in touch, and he was in the Army Sevens team for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
And he shares some of his fitness tests, and I'm like, that looks brutal.
I tell you, well, the Army Sevens, they're an absolute, incredible team. They're you've just got to see them at like Bournemouth Sevens or places like that. They're absolutely rapid. You know, I played the Army before, and this was in, you know, normal 15s rugby, and playing some of the Fijian players. They are, they are pretty good. But you've got so many, you know, for all, across all services, you've got players who are playing in the Premiership. You know, the likes of Josh McNally, who's captain in Bath. I think they're playing tonight against Bristol, and you know, he's an RAF through and through. And so there's real good talent in those squads, like top talent, and it's wow.
Did you say he used to play for you guys, or he comes in and out?
Well,
or?
yeah, he's an RAF rugby player. So he plays all the inter-services, and he's an ambassador now, and it's an incredible recruitment tool as well to see that you've got someone who's playing in the Premiership for Bath, and he's also in the RAF.
That's
and
wicked, yeah.
But for the Army and Navy, they've all got players who are in Premiership teams. It's a brilliant way, really.
So you play for 3 teams currently?
Yeah, so
RAF, Gazelles, and the German team.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped playing RAF rugby a few years back, to be honest.
Okay.
Last game was playing for like a development RAF team, and we managed to play at Cardiff Arms Park against I think it was the prison service or something like that. And that was just a class opportunity, to be honest. And it was a welcome break from being overseas, because I've served now for about nearly 6 years overseas.
Oh, so, I was going to ask how long you've been abroad.
Yeah. So nearly coming up to 6 years. So I haven't. It's difficult to get back for any type of training camp, and also I'm getting older now. So I wouldn't ever say I was the best of players. I was always like sort of, you know, on the, you know, not always in the starting lineup or anything like that. I was, you know, just on the sort of peripheral, you know, whatever. But so over here now we've got a local team who I play for called the Honey Badgers. They're in
that's cool.
The Honey Badgers, yeah. So I'm based in Rhineland-Pfalz, which is a region in Germany, and yeah. So we've got the Honey Badgers, but then we've also got our regional side called RLP Rugby, which is basically Rhineland-Pfalz shortened to RLP. So yeah, play for them, and then obviously the vegan team, Green Gazelles, and whenever we can get playing.
Let's talk the German team first. So you're director of rugby for the regional area, right?
Yeah. So about 6 months ago, we're talking. This region is up and coming in terms of rugby. You know, we're not talking. It's nowhere near professional. It's amateur level grassroots rugby, and there's a lot of fresh people just picking up the game who are German. And so in terms of organisation and structure, I thought it was a good idea to try and create a representational side for the region. And in doing so, we're basically creating men's, women's, and youth representation teams, so we can give some of those, you know, new people to the game or local nationals the opportunity to represent the regional team and give them something to train hard for. We're still very much in the development phase, and but we've got huge aspirations for the future, and we're linking in with the top teams in Germany, and some of those teams are like Heidelberg, Frankfurt, and teams that are actually would give a lot of, you know, UK national level teams a real run for their money.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, it's an up and running thing. It's hugely exciting because, you know, it's just great to see new people picking up the ball and giving it a go. And in my role, I get to go to all the various different clubs in the region and just get involved with players and just help people out. And, you know, it's like I said, it's a developing thing, and everyone's in it just for the benefit of the sport.
Yeah. That's like the team in Hungary I have, where like they're all pretty new. Like it's rare that you get someone that picked up a ball at like 10 years old. Like it's quite rare. But there's like fit, strong guys. They all love their judo. They love their wrestling. They're outdoor sports. They're like manic at like. So there's like fit, strong people, but they just like haven't picked up a ball, and it's just about. I think the problem with not problem, but what they're trying to work on is getting kids to play younger, so that when they're mid-teens, they know what they're doing, and then it's just about sort of developing them a bit further in. I'm not like a rugby skills coach, but that's like genuinely the pathway, because there's plenty of, like you said just before we start recording, strong, talented, fit people. You just got to teach them the skills, I think, and then those areas of the world are are going to come up, because it's not in Hungary. There's not any rugby on TV. You have to have one of these little downloadable sites. But there's American football on TV, and we train next to the American football team, and that team has like a first and second team, I think. And I think in Hungary, the rugby, there's only like 14, 15 teams, but American football, there's 3 divisions of like 10 teams each. And like in England, it's like no one picks. To me, it's weird. I'm like, you're playing American football over rugby? Like, why? What's going on? But I think it's just because it's on TV a bit more, and it's just more publicized. Because I met someone, anyone I've met from Germany, they have no idea what rugby is. Like, never heard of it. So I think it really is quite new around there.
Yeah, it really is, and there is a hell of a lot of talent there. Like you say, you know, you've got players who are fit, agile, and adaptable, but you know, I managed to get a chat with Damien McGrath, who's the Deutschland Sevens coach, and he's, you know, a really well-renowned coach within the Sevens circuit. And you know, his intent really is to just get players to, you know, really learn how to run with the ball, catch the ball, and pass the ball. And if you can get those fundamentals right in sevens, particularly, you know, that's all you need to you know, to try and turn those good players or good athletes into rugby players. So that's what I'm trying to take on really with Rhineland Phelps, is just teach the basics right, don't overthink it, and just, you know, go from there and build it, and as part of like a sort of 5-year plan. And then hopefully over that time, you know, players get better and better. And you know, it's not just about keeping those players within Rhineland Phelps or Germany. It's about hopefully getting them opportunities. You know, if there's players out there who are absolutely fantastic and have, you know, years ahead of themselves, you know, getting them into France or get them into the UK to play for some of those teams and give them that opportunity.
Some of the top guys in my Hungarian Szeged team, the top couple of players have all spent about 3 years England or France or playing somewhere else. I think one guy played Nat 2 level, so like pretty good, and obviously he's a Hungarian national standard. And yeah, the players. I think one of the plans for the younger boys is like to get them playing, maybe go abroad for a year or two, and then maybe bring them back. But yeah, going somewhere else to experience like where the die-hard rugby teams, and you'll have everything laid out for you. Because with the team I've got in Hungary, there's only 6 teams in the league. So there's 5 games in spring, 5 in autumn, which is like 3 or 4 weeks apart, which for me is weird. You only get to practice 5 times every half year. Because in England, obviously, it's every week for like 9 months of the year. Maybe you have like Christmas off. But to go and experience like playing every weekend and different, I think is important. And I would encourage anyone who's from the areas that me and you might train people in, if they can, a year or 2 or a season abroad, obviously, because England Brexit, that's probably a harder choice now. But
it's going to be harder now, yeah.
If you can get contacts and be in a squad, you'll learn a lot more. And yeah, I think it's definitely beneficial for the guys at these sort of developing in the rugby scene to sort of go abroad and get some more experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, you know, you got like the rugby agents, you know, they advertise so many different opportunities all over the place, all over the world. So for anyone who's like, you know, whether it's a break in uni or a break from just, you know, you might be 19 or 20 and you just left school and you think, actually, screw it, I want to go to Australia for a year or something, and bloody go and do it.
Yeah, I've connected with quite a few of the agents, not for me, but just trying to like build my network. And there's like every day it's like, I need someone that's going to be semi-pro at this club. You get a gym membership and you get half a flat. And I'm like, God, I might get my boots on again or get my knee support and try and rock and roll.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, you never stop, do you? The older you get, you're always thinking, do I have another year? And you're just like, yeah, bloody hell.
There's another guy, Tom, I think his name's Jankowski. I've had him on here a few times. And he said that from 19, he just used rugby as like travel, and he just did 2 seasons here, 2 seasons here, 2 seasons here. And I was like, that sounds fucking great. Like, I bet that was wicked.
Yeah. I think I saw a video the other day from a player who went over to MLR over in America to play rugby. And he said it was just absolutely rapid. He loved it, you know, and he was young, wild and free. So you can just imagine what it's like.
Yeah. And those countries where they're really trying to push it, and they'll be getting a lot of investment. And I think, I don't know much club or rugby league, but isn't there now a Toronto team in the main English rugby or the European Rugby League tournament. I don't know. Do you know what that is?
Is it Toronto Wolfpack? I think it might be.
But still, just
I'm not
weird.
sure.
Weird that a random North American team is in the European League. They must have to fly like every weekend or every other weekend.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. If it is the team, one of the guys who's associated with Green Gazelles, he's Anthony Mouali. He plays down in France at the moment. I think it's in I can't remember the name now of the place, Carcassonne or something like that. And he's a pro rugby league player. Good, really top player. You know,
Cool.
Really, really good. Let's
get on to Green Gazelles then. Your vegan rugby team. Tell us how that started and just a bit more about that.
Right, yeah, I'll probably start because I know vegan. Whenever anyone says the word vegan, it's not got a great stigma attached to it. And
correct.
And but yeah, exactly. And before I was vegan, I was a huge meat eater. You know, I was big on meat. I was, that's what, every week it was like stick two chickens in the oven, and so for me it was very much like I've always loved animals. And then my wife, she had a bad back, and we traveled to Australia or something about a year and a half before, and we saw all these vegan plant-based meals, and we were like, oh, okay. And we were trying them, and they all tasted great. Everyone was like fit and healthy in Australia, like, wow, looking, amazing. We were like, so we when we went there, it already planted the seed that, okay. And we started to do a bit of research, and then she had a really bad back, and a part of that research further was about anti-inflammatory, so trying to reduce that inflammation in certain areas of the body. And as a rugby player, like, I've broken my jaw, I've smashed both knees up, broken ribs, and my whole body's like, hanging on with sticky tape. And so I was initially a little bit against it because I didn't really understand it, and I always thought, bloody vegan, and then
as we do.
yeah, and I thought it would impact me, health wise, and also physically on the rugby pitch. So I wanted to support her, and so we did it for a week, and both of us felt naturally better, and it was a whole food. We were like proper good whole foods diet. Everything was natural, loads and loads of vegetables, so we're getting all the vital vitamins and minerals, and I felt amazing, and I was like, you know what, I might do it for another week. And I did it for another week, and 6 weeks went on, and I went and did my 1.5 mile fitness test, and I knocked a whole minute off my time, and I did a personal best of like 8 minutes something, and it was unreal. And it was one of those moments that I was blown away, literally blown away. And even when I thought I was in my highest fitness peak, I was hitting like 9 minutes, and I was like, I don't know how I managed it. So the impact of turning to a plant-based diet was tremendous. Like for me at that point, when I did that 1.5 miles, I was like, no, I ain't going back. And the more and more, and I've been vegan now for 4 years, the more and more you go into it, the more you realize, okay, there's other added benefits, environment, animal welfare and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not one of these people who, criticize someone for not being vegan. I'm not interested in that. I'll just, if it's good for me, it's good. And so through my obviously passion for veganism and rugby, when me and my wife were on a walk when we were living in Belgium, just come up with this crazy idea, like, how could we put these two together? And I thought, no way we'd be able to fill a rugby team full of vegans. Absolutely, there's going to be no one. Well, anyway, did research, and we're now 2 years in, and we've got 130 players worldwide who are keen to play. And cool. Some are complete pros, who've played internationally. So we've got one lad at Saracens. We've got guys over in Australia, New Zealand who have played at Pro Rugby League, Pro Union. The likes of Adam Thompson, who's a New Zealand All Black. You got TJ Periana, who's he's just turned vegan, plant-based. You may have seen in the news Dan Bibby, who is GB Sevens, England Sevens player. He's been living a plant-based lifestyle for the last 2-3 years.
Cool.
And it's interesting, and it's all about bringing like-minded people together and just giving it a go and trying to see how we go on the rugby pitch against other teams. And yeah, it's a bit of a community.
Are these professional guys allowed to play for another team?
Technically, no. So yeah, but some of them who used to play professionally can. So the likes of, I know this sounds really random, but Mirko Bergamasco, I don't know if you remember him, the Italian player. Like he's a coach for a team in France, but he's allowed to play. So last year when we had this whole sevens program lined up, he was actually going to commit to one of the tournaments and come play for us. So that would have been so cool. But the likes of the Saracens player and other people who are currently pro, they won't be allowed to play for us under contract.
Can't
you
get
never
on the
know.
pitch, but they can support and they can be there, and it will help the team and I guess the community and whatever. And I think a lot of the questions I got, they assume that you might be like a vegan team in a normal English league playing 40 games a year. Is it more of like a tournament-based team? Is that what it is? That's what I assume.
So year one, well, last year we were going to try and do a load of sevens tournaments and then progress it up as we grow our numbers, and then do 15s. So at the moment, the plan is to play sevens predominantly, but also do bespoke exhibition 15s matches. And we've got a really big project ongoing, and hopefully we'll achieve it in 2022 or 2023, is to feature a vegan, like the Green Gazelles versus a non-vegan team at a major stadium, and make a really cool event out of it, and a documentary. And but try and do it in a way that we're not trying to like,
that's going to start a war.
It will. It'll be interesting, but try and do it in a way that, you know, we're not trying to force people, but just show people that, hey, you know, have a look at it and give it a go. And, you know, there might be people listening into this thinking massively against veganism, but they might have really bad knees, or they might have a lot of inflammation. And my advice is you don't have to be a vegan. Just try a plant-based diet and see how you get on, and see if you feel physically better for it. And now a lot of people won't do it 7 days a week. Some people might do it 5 or 6 days a week, or even 3 days a week. And I think that's a good way forward. I think health wise, it's always important, the older you get as well, just to look at what you're eating, and also to do blood work. You know, check that your vitals are good, because you might think that you're lacking in a certain B12 or whatever vitamin, but actually you might not be. It might just be because you're bloody tired, or it might just be because you're worn out. So it's really important just to have a good health check. You know, whether you're vegan or not, it's good for that.
And I think there's a lot of consensus on the face of like fitness and health, like protein, carbs and fats is like the top limit, and then you have to look at what it does sort of internally as well. And that's what you mentioned, like blood work and a few other things that are which are sort of not thought of, and you think, right, what this packet says on the front is all it is, but there's more to go into it. And I was like 4 plates of meat a day. My missus is veggie now, and I probably have meat a few times a week. I won't say no, but I won't cook it 4 times a day. And yeah, there was, I'm still refuse to think that my injuries have gone away because of that. But my missus is hammering it down my throat that that's one of the reasons. But yeah, like if anyone knows me personally, 4 years ago, I'd have like 2 chickens a day, and then just slowly coming down. It's not going to be a goal to do it, but like before, a meal without chicken in there, I'm like, what is this? What is this crap? But there's good meals. I unintentionally recorded my own podcast earlier in the week, and I was saying there's good ways and bad ways. I like it, like you said, cooking everything yourself, making it from scratch, actual meals. And when someone picks a processed, like basically a junk food, but because it's meat free, they think that they're going healthy. I disagree with that, but that's for all diets. Anyone can do that.
Yeah, mate. The biggest thing is balance, and you don't really want to eat processed. And it's whole food diet. You know, you just eat fresh veg, get tons of it in you. You know, have various you know, I mean, I have a lot of, in the morning, for example, a massive great bowl of porridge, and I chuck all sorts of stuff in there, you know. But there's so many ways forward. And what we have, thankfully, with the Green Gazelles, we've got a good network now. So we've got club nutritionist, Phil Bryden. This guy's so switched on. This guy has so much knowledge. So some of the players who join us, who have like literally just turned plant-based, they're like, well, I don't really know what to cook, and I don't. So we just literally link them up with a nutritionist, and you know, before long, I mean, we've had one player here locally actually with the honey badgers, and I didn't realize he turned to a plant-based diet, and he said he was. And I found out because I brought some Green Gazelles kit down to get some of the guys to wear it or whatever, and he goes, oh yeah, I'm actually I've changed to a plant-based diet. I'm like, what? Why didn't you tell me? And then he said he was struggling, and then I linked him up with a nutritionist, and he's been brilliant. You know, I mean, he's peaked. He's done really well. So
sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, that's it, mate.
I was going to say, one of the questions from the guys in the group was, how do you manage food? But you've now got someone who helps out all the players and all the supporters.
Yeah, so a lot of the players within the group are top athletes, mate. They're like, some of them
now I know that,
are really so some of the I mean, even some of the, I would class amateur players, and I definitely class myself in that. I don't think I'll even get on the starting sheet, no chance. But we will have multiple teams. Some of the players are like fitness coaches, they're really well renowned coaches in London and all sorts of places. And they bring a lot to the table as well, advice on what, in our WhatsApp group, we just share all sorts with each other. I've just done this meal, and this protein shake's really good, or try this recipe out, try this quinoa salad or whatever, and we just help each other out and share. It's a learning thing, and we're all in it, giving it a go together, and that's it.
And if one of the other questions was about meals when you go somewhere. So you're not playing every week at like the local rugby club, but when you go somewhere, I assume it's just the case of, as a coach, you bring the balls, the bags, the cones, the water, and meals. You just add it onto the list, right? It can't be that difficult to.
Well, I mean, a lot of the partners we have now are companies like, so there's a company called Human Food, and they produce highly nutritious bars, and they give you exactly what you need, like a B12 or vitamin, all the various vitamins in a bar. And it's it's not the most tastiest of bars, and there's a lot of feedback for and against. Some people love it, some people don't, but if you have one of these bars, you're covered off. And so I bring that sort of stuff to any training camp or whatever, but equally we'll have all types of supplements if we need them, like post-training shake and pre warm-up sort of thing. But we'll all go for team meals as well. So we'll just pick a local restaurant that offers plant-based foods. But we've got a training camp lined up, hopefully for this year, if it can go ahead, at a private school just outside of London. And we'll be able to use the kitchen. We'll have use of the gym and everything. So what we'll do, we'll bring in one of the vegan chefs within the community to come and cook some food for us and make some content out of it.
I was going to ask where you would have most of your exhibitions. Would it be England stuff, or would it be closer to you?
Well, the plan is London, really, London based, around that area, and then also here in Germany. That's the plan for this year. So in this region, because I've got use of facilities here. And in the UK, we've got plenty of the players who have, links into various clubs and stuff. So we can get some good facilities there to use.
I think because I went on the page, and in the page, it's all sunny days, and that can't be England. Sunny day and dying grass. I thought it must be more Europe based, but if most of the games are in England, makes sense.
Yeah, and the difficulty has been last year with COVID that we couldn't do as much as we wanted to do, and I'm
just chucking you a follow. That's why I'm on my phone. There we go.
Yeah, we just got to hope that this year at some point we get an opportunity to, even if it's the minimum, a training camp, or top end of the spectrum would be play some sevens tournaments, and maybe a one-off fixture in 15s. But we just got to see how it pans out, haven't we?
No one knows. That's why I'd stay out of the lockdown COVID debate, because like there's articles that say this, articles that say that, and no one knows what the prime president, whatever, of your country is going to say tomorrow. So I just take day by day and whatever. All right, I'm going to go onto my Facebook and see if we got any live questions. There might not be, but it's always worth a look. Oh, someone no, we got a morning. I'm in a meeting and we got a morning. So no questions live, but I got the ones from earlier in the week, which was about the nutritionists and about
where we train and stuff. Yeah.
Where you train. Yeah. But yeah, sweet. That's pretty cool. Learning about the German team and the Gazelles, because I've seen them pop up because I'm in a bunch of groups, pop up here and there. And then, like I said, when the person said she'd set up a podcast, I was like, that'd be cool to talk to you because you set up that team, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's it's a lot of work at times, but it's worth it because I made some quality friends out of it, and I just can't wait in the future to hopefully have some really cool fixtures. And it would be an absolute dream come true if we could play somewhere like Ashton Gate or the Rec maybe, and you never know. You just never know, do you, what's possible. And with how it's going in the world at the moment, there seems to be so many people focused primarily on the environment and things like that. So, let's see what happens. And there's a lot more athletes coming forward and changing their mindset on this on this, aren't they? So on this topic, but yeah, I'm excited.
I think it's quite unique, and it's a good take on it, because the view, or the incorrect view of, like you said, the term vegan is like you can't play sport or whatever, and this is obviously a rugby team for it, so you're showing that it can happen. It's like what was the documentary? I forgot what it was, where they
Game Changers.
Yeah, they had all the football players eating it, and obviously it proves that this is not just like, you don't need to be a literal meathead to look like one. You can eat other stuff as well. So it's a cool.
I know what's really random with the Game Changers, and you know, I quite like Game Changers. Yeah, there was a lot of for and against arguments, definitely on the Game Changers one. And I don't know if you remember Patrick Babumia, and he was the strong man who, you know, could flip a car, and
yeah,
you know,
German guy. I know.
Yeah, I've been in contact with him, and quite a bit,
be a prop for you.
Well, you know, I saw him in London, and I said, "Hey, come on, you can be a prop forward for the team." He's not a huge rugby fan, but he linked me straight in with someone up in Berlin who's a player. But he supports the club. He loves what we're all about, and hopefully, you never know, we might be able to get him on a rugby pitch for a bit of fun. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? Maybe we could create some sort of challenge where he has to have a scrum against us or something.
Yeah, or like a tug of war against a few players.
Yeah. Well, he'd probably kill us, but
not 15 of you though.
No. And some of the lads. So our captain is Connor McDonald. I think he was in the Wasps Academy and all sorts. But he's 6'5", 6'6", 120 odd kilograms, and he's a hell of a player. He's played for some very, very good teams like Roslyn Park. He's done who else? Nomad Sevens and various other. But he's a really good guy to have. Actually, he's a sort of one of those ones who just keeps me my head up, positive, and very well networked within the sort of coaching world as well. And our head coach is Matt Dickens, who's he's worked with elite athletes in all types of fields, whether it's like F1 or football or rugby.
Cool.
And so thankfully, like the likes of him, got involved, and they've taken on a bit of that responsibility of stepping forward and being the head coach and helping the team through various bits and pieces. So we just got to keep progressing a little bit at a time. But I'm really keen, if anyone listens in, don't feel like we're against everyone else. I'm proper open with any questions or anything like that. And if you've got a random question that you want to give it a go for a day or something, I'll help you with it. I'll give you a really cool recipe to try, or I'm happy to chat through any questions, and if anyone's listening and their team wants to play us or something like that, hit us up. Any opportunity is good, even if it's like a joint training session, or I'm open to so many things.
That'll follow perfectly on to how could they get hold of you if they want to do those things.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's me personally, just I'm on Instagram, rugby coach agent Brendon Bale. So just type in Brendon Bale, you'll find me. But equally, you can direct message any of the Green Gazelles Rugby Club pages, and it's at Green Gazelles Rugby on Instagram and Facebook. We have Twitter, but we don't really use it all that much. Main focus really is Instagram. I think
very
that's primarily
visual platform.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like Instagram. It's quite cool. And we've got a website, www.greengazellesrugbyclub.com. And on there, we've got various, contact links and stuff, and a bit more info on us and who we are, and some of the players and some of the coaches and stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, if you want to get some questions, if you want to join the team, if you want to ask him anything, that's how you do it. I'm going to wrap it up there. So cheers a lot for your time, Brendon. You can go back to saving the air of the earth. If you have any questions for him, get in touch. Or if you have any questions for me, you know how to get in touch with me. Just get on any of my platforms, Regans Rugby. You'll find me. So cheers for that. Cheers for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.